Okay, I want to say special thanks to Captain Jimmy for letting me use this picture. Hope the man in the picture doesn't mind. Maybe he'd be famous one day. Who knows? All right. And I also want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, from Globers to Flat Earthers to Concavers. Happy Thanksgiving. May you not eat too much turkey. um, but first of all, this is Billy Steele's rack, and I can tell by that little sign to the left. I've gotten really used to picking out a lot of my videos. And then, of course, this is a boat going across. This was taken real late, too, after the sun vanished from my point of view, or from my low perspective. And, I wanted to present this because this was really, to me, it was good footage. Yes, I had some issues with a little bit of distortion, trying to get everything in focus. Of course, at night with a low light camera, it doesn't make it easy. And the only thing I did with this was I brought up the brightness a little bit just to make it a little more visible again. Um, but as you see, as I zoom back, how the water just mirrors everything above. Um, Plus, too, I've got some pictures in here after this little video that, you might want to pause here and there on it. But there's one picture in here that really, really says it all to me. Kind of hard to explain until you see the picture, but I could probably spend all day just talking about the one picture, or not all day, but I could probably spend an hour or so just talking about one picture that I took, because it's really interesting. But as you see here, this is the Bayport entrance rack. And again, I was having a hard time getting it in really good focus. And as I move toward the north, you'll see this another boat, of course, moving across. And this is something that, yes, these boats are distorted. My footage earlier in the day, there was some distortion going on, but it speaks volumes to me, only because I'm very used to, studying my observations. I'm really familiar with the racks, the signs, and everything to be able to know what I'm looking at. Plus, with my navigation maps, there's only so many racks that I can see. And actually, I found out that I'm able to see the Arapica rack too. But this is Cutter's Rock here. And I want to show you as I zoom back how this one sign is to the left of me, and I have to pass this sign to find Cutter's Rock from my location. Now, where I'm sitting at is in my usual spot in the corner, sitting up on the seawall. Later on in the video, I'll show you where I was sitting at, taking most of these. And then later on, I actually do go down below the seawall. And I filmed it with my infrared camera. Filmed my location, so you would know that I was down below the seawall. It's kind of grainy. Some of this stuff is kind of grainy, but and out of focus. And again, how can you focus on distortion? And that's one of the things that a lot of people mistaken distortion for a mirage. Just because something is distorted doesn't necessarily mean it's a mirage. It basically means that there's a lot of moisture between my camera and the object that I'm filming. Plus, too, I think the light actually is also distorted too. And as you see me panning across here, I'm looking for the north rack. And two, in my earlier footage from this same day, I'm going with this part because I took a lot of pictures. And the pictures are really telling to me how flat this horizon actually is. But you'll see here, I'm pretty sure I get the north rack in here. It was getting dark, so I was trying to hurry up and cut across here and pick it up and zoom in on it so you could actually see it. And again, this is the north rack. It comes out better in the pictures. Um, and I'll try to tell you which ones they are as I go through these pictures. Most of them are of Cutter's Rock because that's what I was basically concentrating on. But the first picture's coming up. This is the North Rack, and I did have to fix up the lighting a little bit. And then here I did a longer exposure to where you could see the North Rack sitting out there, really on the horizon. But what I always say is behind it, there is some mirroring going on, and maybe that's where you get this band, this darker band. And of course, this is of Cutter's Rock right here. And what I do is I take some pictures of it as I'm zooming back a little bit at a time. Yes, the light flashes on and off, so sometimes it's off, sometimes it's on. And people say, well, why can't you count these flashes? Well, again, you're trying to count a flash that's distorted. Now, most of us that are out there boating on the water, we do know these flashes because, again, that's how we find our entrance to, either Bayport, Hernando Beach, and the people coming from the south, they go by that Hernando Beach turn light. Always helps. Again, this is Cutter's Rock still. And again, I'm going to start zooming back, all the way back too on this. But I like to catch it with the light on too, so I do stop and try to get it with the light on. I think this next one I'm stopping and waiting for the light to come on. Actually, and there's a boat going by. You can tell it's a long exposure because of the lighting being stretched across from the boat. And again, here I'm zooming further back and further back. And like I said, I always try to catch it with the light on so you can still see it, because without the light, you can't hardly see it, but it's just a little dot out there. And look how flat that horizon is. And come on, folks. There's no bend. There's no curvy water. Yes, my camera is up on the seawall, but still, I should not see this because you'll see in the video that the water was not that low. It wasn't an extreme low tide, but when the tide did get lower, I did get closer to the water. And here's that sign that the Cutter Rock is to the right. Bayport Rack is to the left, and you'll see it coming up here as I back up. And there's that boat that had went by, and you can see it's a long stretched out line. Not a real long one, but like a short dash. And it's crazy. And then, I saw the moon and Venus and Jupiter, so I decided to do a few pictures on them. I thought it would be cool to add this in here, because it was just excellent, excellent, really nice pictures. And there's Venus at the top, Jupiter's below, the moon again. I didn't stay on this too long, but I thought it would be nice to add it in. Only because it was just this tiny little sliver. I forget how much it was. I think it was like a 3 or 4%. I could look and tell you, but it's not that big of a deal right at this moment. Anybody can find that out if you just go through and look at what the percentage of the moon. And then I overexposed a few of these, so I did turn the lighting down and bring up the contrast a little bit on a couple of these. Again, here's a one that was overexposed, and then I tried to make it look fairly nice anyhow. And then again, when it gets dark, trying to get without this grainy look, you have to actually zoom back to get rid of some of that grainy look to it. But I thought it was pretty cool to have this, have these pictures. And again, here, kind of a little out of focus on that. And a little out of focus on this too, but it also could be part of the graininess. And then I zoom in on Jupiter, out of focus, of course. Don't forget, I'm trying to do these fairly quick. And then, with it being a little longer exposure, you get these, the lines stretching, or the supposedly moon stretched out a little bit. Then I tried to, uh, do a little less exposure time and get them to where they're not so stretched out. But there's your red and blue, um, you know, colors of the moon, or Jupiter. And then I did take a couple of uh, Venus, only because I thought it was pretty cool. Again, as I'm zoom back here a little bit, get a little better picture of it. And then here's Venus. I'm hoping my phone don't ring and disturb this video. Otherwise, I have to put it on pause and then start it up again. But again, there's Venus. Um, and it's, again, you're trying to take a picture of a light. And this was pretty cool. There was a plane that decided to fly through between the two as I was taking these pictures. So I tried to get a little close-up shot of it right here. And you can see where that plane is, and then you'll see it move away. There it is. There's the plane in the middle there. And then these were actually a couple of time-lapse pictures that didn't really come out so hot, but there's the flashing light there. You've seen it for a second. I actually thought I was taking a picture, and then this is a time-lapse. I wish I would have did a longer one, a 25-minute instead of a 10, because I think it would have came out better. I would have captured more light with it. And then here's back to some pictures, long exposure ones. These weren't as long as what I wanted them to be, so that's why they weren't so bright. This is a little brighter. Now that one picture's coming up that, I'm going to explain everything left to right. And, well, here, it pretty much says it all. There's Bill Watts beacon light. Next one's going to be Hernando Beach turn beacon light. It's Hernando Beach turn light. Then you got Billy Steele's beacon light. And then you got Bayport entrance rack light. And right there, you'll see on the next picture when I zoom in, there's Cutter's Rock would be there. And then the Bayport North rack beacon light. Now here's where I zoom in. And that's the Bayport entrance rack beacon light. And then right there, you can barely see it, but it's there. There's Cutter's Rock. All right, and then here was this was something neat. I was actually again taking a picture with it's a time-lapse picture, and I actually moved the camera, which I was like, oh darn, why did I move it? Because this is the Anclote power plant, where usually I can't see a lot there, but and this I did zoom in on it and got one good shot. You can actually see the lighting all the way down, which is 27 miles away, to Anclote Island power plant, or Anclote Island power plant. Again, it's 27 miles away from Pine Island. And then here again, here's where I'm zoomed in on the sign. You can see the beacon light for Bayport and Cutter's Rock both. And then here was some pictures that I took with my cell phone, which I just threw them in here because I thought they were pretty cool. Because they show how this mirroring is. And if you think about parallel lines and how a parallel line will converge out to the horizon, these are good examples right here. People that don't understand how parallel lines will converge. Well, the sky converges the same way, and then there's a point of where what we call the vanishing point, where you can no longer see past that point. Again, there's a good example. And then here's the Hernando Beach Islands out there. I kind of zoomed in with my cell phone. They didn't come out too bad. I thought it was pretty cool, though, to be able to zoom in a little bit. Again, they're kind of a little grainy. But overall, I think they're pretty cool because you can see quite a bit. And then again, you can see the beacon Bayport rack to the left there, almost to the edge. You can't really see the beacon light for Cutter's Rock, but it's out there. And then here's one more. And then I'm going to go into a video here. This is where I had my camera located during the day when I was filming, and I stayed right there the whole time until it got dark. Then I went down below the seawall as the tide went out. As you can see, the tide was, up there still. And I'm not, it's fairly cold out. I mean, it wasn't cold, but it was fairly cold. And again, this is the bait, Cutter's Rock, way out there. And you can see the ripple of the water there too. And then I'm gonna let this natural audio run coming up right here and let you listen to what I have to say in this natural audio. You can see where my camera's heading.
What's it in there? Whoa! Look at that. Man, I got so many good looking pictures I take there.
I know, look at that mirroring.
Look at that one.
Yeah, that's a nice picture right there. First of all, here's this corner that I set in. I'm down here in the mud, really close to the water here. It's kind of hard to show, but I'm using my infrared camera. I'm going to cut some of this audio off. I was using the infrared camera to film my location. You could see where I was up on the seawall. And then I did get down below that seawall. And it was really, really muddy where I was at. And there you can see the Cutter's Rock flashing just right of the sign, and the Bayport rack flashing right of the sign. And as I try to zoom in, this infrared camera, for some reason, I'm still learning how to work it. Its autofocus is just, it goes in and out of focus, in and out of focus. And I have footage too. Now you can see that I'm down there in the mud. My camera's at 28 inches. And you'll see it going in and out of focus. That's what I'm getting frustrated with it. But like I said, I'm still learning. And then what I do here as I'm trying to zoom in a little bit later in this video, I actually take this infrared camera and put it below my Nikon P1000 and shoot it at about a foot off the, the mud. I get down real low, and you'll see this. Well, I think it was in one of the pictures. You could see a weed sticking up, or maybe you'll see it in this. I'm not sure, but I had so much footage this day. It's crazy. And then when I, using two cameras, you see it going in and out of focus, but you'll see the Cutter's light lighten up here. You'll see it flashing out there. And actually, if I was just to use it, you might be able to count those flashes because it's a little bit better. The light ain't distorted so much. But they're quick flashes. And sometimes I don't know if they've updated the amount of flashing that these lights do or not, but it's pretty crazy that I'm able to get this low and still catch these. I was wanting to do it with my cell phone, but because of the light behind me, being that Pine Island's really lit up, it wasn't allowing me to see very well with my cell phone camera, and that's why I was using the infrared. Again, you can see it kind of going in and out of focus here, but as you can even see some of the other beacon lights flashing out there. And there it is right there. I zoom in and you can see this weed sticking up. I'm below my tripod, again, where my P1000 is. I'm below it, and you can see it trying to flash. It's still out of focus. But again, folks, you know, we got it here, and there, there's no way that I got refraction occurring right now. All right, I lose my train of thought while I get a phone call. Again, this infrared camera is tough to work with, but I'm getting better with it. I got some other footage too that I'll try to show in the future. I just have so much stuff, it's crazy trying to get all this into perspective. All right, I appreciate y'all watching. Thanks a lot again. And here I am looking down, showing that I'm kind of way below my tripod. All right, thanks a lot. Happy Thanksgiving.